So I came to this country when I was like 2 or 3 years old. Right? And to be honest, I was struggling with the language. I can't even lie. Like I was down bad for it. But my dad, like he's a real G. He took me to the library every single week. He told me to pick out 2 books and then to finish reading it by the end of the next week. And if I did, he got me a little something, something. You feel me? Like it's an equal exchange. I think. If I think back on it now, that's really where my love for like books and stories in general really started. Fast forward to last year, right? So Dave Josh's long-awaited album, The Boy Who Played the Harp. I'm listening to Fairchild on repeat, blood. You know the track? He's talking about like the weight that women carry every single day. And I can't lie, as a man, I'll be honest, I never really deeped it, you feel me? Like, I never stood still long enough to realize that my experience of the world is a different game entirely from that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I only have one brother, you know? I know how obvious that sounds, but I'm just speaking how I feel. I was talking to this female friend of mine, right? For her, it was like, yeah, of course, because it's her daily experience, you know? She was like, why are you telling me stuff that I already know about, that I'm literally living every day? She told me about this book. Said if you really want to understand, you gotta read this motherfucker. And it was this book called 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khalid Hosseini. Real quick about my man Khalid, right? This man was the son of a diplomat in Kabul, Afghanistan, right? When the Soviets invaded Afghanistan in 1979, his family basically lost everything and they had to seek asylum in the US, innit? Brother, imagine being 15 years old, yeah? Moving to a whole nother country. You don't know nothing. You don't know no one. Not speaking a word of English. The family goes from being the elite, like you're on the top of the social chain or whatever, and then you go to the very bottom, like you're living on welfare and food stamps, bro. Here's the thing, my brother Khalid did not fall, bro. This man became a whole doctor, bro. And bro, what are we doing, man? What? There's levels to this, man. He wrote his first bestseller called The Kite Runner whilst practicing medicine. Like he was a doctor by day and he woke up 4 a.m. in the morning to write that book, and then during the day he went on his doctoring business. Like my brother was a real ass, had a secret identity. He had 2 identities. I was on Batman shit too. The Husseini takes us in the life of Maryam and Layla throughout a couple of decades, all the way from the 1970s to the absolute patriarchal terrorism of the Taliban. But look, as I started reading it, I can't lie, bro. I started feeling ashamed, man. Like, I started seeing like patterns in the book, and then I realized like that's me, bro. Like I have done shit that they, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not saying I'm like the Taliban per se, but you know what I'm saying? Like everyone's like the Taliban a couple of days in a week. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone's a bit of a Taliban. Everyone has a little bit of Taliban inside them. I realized that as men, like we do this like on a regular. Like we take up space, we ignore the tahammul. I'll get to that. Of the women around us, and we assume that our struggles is the only one that matters, you know? I was just playing my own game. And this shit made me fucking deep it. So, like I said, 1,000 Splendid Suns is about 2 women, Maryam and Layla, and it's set against 30 years of war in Afghanistan. Soviets, Civil War, and then Taliban. Maryam is the underdog of the story. She was born as a harami, or an illegitimate child. Her own father was genuinely ashamed of her and he hid her away in a mud hut. Then we have Layla. She's younger and educated and the daughter of a teacher. Hey, look, I'm not gonna spoil the book, but stuff happens, innit? It's a book, stuff happens. So, both women end up married to the same guy, Rashid. Now listen, yeah, Rashid is definitely the villain of the story. He is like the patriarchal terrorist. He treats these women like genuine property, bro. He uses violence to maintain control over them. Because he's a man, he's physically stronger. At first, Maryam, who is first married to Rashid, and then later Layla comes into the play. She sees Layla as a rival. You know, they're ambachs, co-wives, who don't trust each other. But throughout the book, they realize that the only way to survive is, you know, if they work together. Throughout the book, there's one word that's used really to describe the lives of these women. And I want y'all to deep this for like tahammul, which I said earlier. I don't know if I said it correctly, but tahammul. And it means endurance. Like whilst the men are outside fighting with tanks and rockets, these women are also fighting their own war inside of their own homes. They develop a sisterhood, and you know, they try to escape. They get caught and they get beaten, but brother, they do not fall, bro. They have tahammul. Alright, so the climax of the story, it's looking intense, I'm not gonna lie. Like Rashid is literally strangling Layla to death, right? And then Maryam, this is where that loyalty kicks in. This girl picks up the shovel and she did a thing, you know? She gotta do what she gotta do to save Layla. She knows that if they both try to escape, they will both be caught. So what she does is she stays, Maryam stays, and she takes the blame upon herself so that Layla and her kids and all the kids can, you know, live on for themselves. So Maryam gets caught, she goes to prison, and she gets fucking executed by the Taliban and them, man. It's, you know, it's actually crazy because like Maryam, she was a harami, a weed, an illegitimate child. Like nobody wanted her. You know, you get me? And she died as a hero, fam. Like genuinely. She sacrificed her own life so that the next generation could have that 1,000 splendid sons that she was denied. Alright, so throughout the book, Maryam is told that there's only one skill that women truly need to have, which is tahammul. Like, be honest, as a man, what you know about enduring 30 years of war, domestic abuse, being made invisible by the law? Like, the system is set up that you don't stand a chance, you know? And living through all of that, it requires real tahammul. This book isn't just a sad story about the past. It's literally a masterclass in resistance. When you think resistance, you probably think like weight in a gym that pushes back, you know? But this resistance is the kind of weight of a brutal patriarchal system, and women like Maryam and Layla who have to carry it every single day. And not just carry it, they break it. It's like the mental grind that keeps your spirit alive, even while the whole world outside is falling into pieces. By refusing to be broken by the Soviets, the Mujahideen, the Taliban, by Rashid, Maryam and Layla, the endurance, it's an act of feminist insurgents, you know? They survive so they can eventually fight back. Like, we view strength as an individual thing, but this book, these women, they show that the highest form of strength is the collective. You know, they form a confluence, a merging of lives that allows them to survive 30 years of war. We gotta realize that the women in our lives, your moms, your sisters, your friends, whoever, they have a silent infrastructure of support that keeps them standing when things get heavy. You gotta ask yourself, are you a part of that infrastructure? You gotta ask yourself, are you a part of that infrastructure? Because to be honest, I don't think I am, blood. Maryam and Layla are set up to fail, right? Rashid uses a divide and conquer type thing to control them. Like he literally calls Maryam a Volga, which is like an old clunky Soviet car, and Layla a brand new first class Benz. Like, to be honest, they should have been enemies for real. And they kind of were in the beginning, but they formed a sisterhood. You see this shit back in society, man. Like, women are being put against each other for status, looks, or male approval. If you make them enemies, then they're easier to control. The actual sisterhood part begins when they realize that there aren't playing against each other. No, it's not like they're not enemies. They're both being played by the bigger system that's trying to control them, and it's rigged against them. Thoughtfulness means recognizing when women in our lives are being pressured to compete and understanding the strength it takes to reject that and not persecute or make fun of them for that. Like I said in the start, like listening to Dave's Fairchild, and to be honest, before that it was Leslie, may have opened the door, but this book, I mean, this book hit like a motherfucker. Like, it kind of made me realize that real strength is being able to look into the mirror and realizing when you've been the villain of someone's story.